Hello, friends. We're here, okay? We're just having a little off-camera funny. But anyway, friends, I have one thing to say to you today to start this off. And listen up. Do it scared. Do it scared. Today, we're going to do it scared. I posted a quote on one of my Facebook pages months ago, and it popped up for some reason last night, late. And it was that general idea. Do it scared. Do the thing that you're scared of. Do it anyway. Work through the scared. And so that is today's mantra, because color theory is terrifying. I recently uploaded a video about color theory. I'm going to link it below. And it's terrifying. And there are moments, I've been painting my whole life since I was 6 years old, and it's still terrifying for me. But then it's also magical because you have moments, many moments, where it just works and your instinct has kicked in and it's just enchanting. But I want you to know this: you're not alone. You're not alone in feeling a little nervous. You're not alone in feeling ill-equipped to understand color theory. You're not alone in being in front of that page with a painting a third of the way done and unsure of your next step, your next color, right? You're not alone. We all struggle with making the right choice. Welcome today. Today is day 3, right? Day 3? It's day 3. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah. Today is day 3 of Watercolorland with yours truly, Kristy Rice. If you are new here, welcome. Just so you know, I'm obsessed with watercolor, and I've been called the Bob Ross of watercolor, which is just such an honor. And I believe in making art for joy's sake first and foremost. I am a joy chaser, and I teach you to be the same. I teach the watercolor curious of the world to chase after lasting joy that you can find on the page with a little bit of paint, a lot of water, and a whole lot of bravery. Okay, so now that we have all that out of the way, wow, the sun is coming out. I have a big window in front of me. Now that we have all of that out of the way, today is about color theory for composition. Yeah. Hi, color theory for composition. I need to go this way. You get a tour of my studio. Color theory for composition, friends. And thanks, Katie. You can take that off. So what does that mean? What does that feel like? And what is that? Yeah. Blah, right? Okay, so composition, it feels like a double whammy, doesn't it? Color theory, poof. Composition, poof. That's what it feels like. But trust me, we are going to have fun. And towards the end of this session today, I'm going to take you on a journey and kind of do a little project that is going to, I hope, I pray, flip your thinking entirely. So you got to stick around. And for those watching on the replay, I love you so much. I love that you are as excited about the live, bummed out that you missed it, and are here on the replay. So a wholehearted welcome to you. And please get into comments, ask your questions. I am responding to them every evening and keeping up with them as the weeks go by. So please get down there, ask your questions. Okay. So what is composition? Someone asked after I uploaded a video about composition. They're like, yeah, but Kristy, what is actually composition? I still don't get that. So composition really is the way that we arrange things on the page. It's the way that we can alter someone's mood or their perception of something on the page. And let's go to a split screen and let's take it to the page, and I can show you a couple of things that I think would be interesting. So this was from yesterday, you know? So how do we figure out where, let's just say this rusty color, where do we place it again for it to be impactful and interesting? And how do we split up the page? Excuse me. How do we split up the page so that it's visually pleasing? How do we make sure that our eye doesn't get stuck in one place? We want there to be a focal point, right? But we don't want our eye to get stuck there. How do we keep the eye traveling? That is composition. It's how we arrange elements on a page to impact the viewer in the way that we want to impact them. Now, the color choices you make as you're painting, as you're exploring, have a direct impact on your composition. They do. They do. They have a direct impact. Now, I'm going to bring out a bunch of paintings. Let's go to full screen on the paintings. And I am going to talk a little bit about how color can have an impact on, let's get this arranged, on your composition. I'm going to pull out a few pieces. Bear with me. And these are literally just random pieces, and some from videos that haven't even been published yet, which I think is pretty exciting. Sorry, friends, I'm stepping off here into my studio. So let's take a look. Okay. This is a piece coming up. I used really strong color here, this fluorescent yellow, and I had to make really interesting and thoughtful decisions about where and how much of the yellow and how saturated it was in certain areas and how it was more muted in other areas. Let's say hello to a few people. Hello, Gwen. You finally made it live. I'm so glad you're here. Susan, yay. Nosebleed seats. Hello, hello. Is this why you keep your old paintings? That would be a lesson in itself. Yeah. I keep everything. Oh my gosh, I don't throw away any old paintings. Oh my gosh, no. Virginia, thank you so much. This is coming up. This is actually coming up next week, this painting. Now, friends, remember, ask your questions. Get in here, ask your questions. Kelly's going to be choosing questions to pop up on screen. I will be seeing some as they scroll over the screen. So, yeah, I'm answering as many questions as I can. So now imagine this was cropped, right? So color had huge impact on this particular composition. This is my focal point. At least that's what I was going for. I wanted my eye to keep going around and around, but always focusing on this area. And so I chose carefully my fluorescent areas. So that's just one example of how color can impact. Color can impact the mood of the composition overall. And how I use color here, I always think about balance and imbalance when it comes to color in my compositions. This is another piece that's coming up next week. You're going to see this come together. And so I've got it overall very pastel. It's kind of like a double monochromatic. I know there's like a actual term for that, but we've got a lot of greens and we've got a lot of pinks and shades of them. And so the overall effect is calming. There is a balance, but it's an asymmetrical kind of balance. There's a nice weight with a lot of the pink, the soft pink down here. I know, I love the circle paper. Isn't that so fun? And then I've got a little bit of the spattering of the pink up here. I almost feel like I so think a little touch of it, real tiny, few little dots of that shell pink down here would be really effective to create kind of that odd number use of color. And we're going to get into the why behind some of these decisions, but I just wanted to show you. This is a piece. I had dinner in a creek on Sunday night. Yeah, dinner in a creek. Absolutely. Head to my Instagram. Check it out. We have a question. How do you darken a color without neutralizing it? Oh my gosh. So I'm thinking you're asking, how do you darken a color without making it dull or muddy. Yeah. One of the ways that I would do that, honestly, so for example, if I was working with, let's actually just go to this painting here. If I were working with a coral color, one classic way that people might darken like a peachy reddish pink is to add a little bit of like burnt sienna, because it's got like a warm undertone, right? But it's a brown. It's going to neutralize it a little bit. I might add a little bit of like a quinacridone magenta to darken a coral a little bit. It would change the color slightly, but it would darken it visually, and it would keep the spiciness and the brightness of that color. The sun is bright today, friends, so stick with me. So hopefully that was a helpful little idea there. What fluorescent yellow do I use? So I most often recently, I've been painting with a palette of my own design. That's the Making Art for Joy's Sake palette. We have someone new on AV today. It's Katie from the studio, from the Momental studio. Some of you know I have another business where we make wedding invitations, and Katie is our graphic designer there at the Momental Design Studio, because Adam is traveling today, the bum. So anyway, Katie, there is a way that you can there's a QR code that will link if anyone's interested in finding out more about the palette. If you could find that, that would be great, and pop it up on the screen. So friends, this is a palette of my own making. And when you open it up, it looks like this, and it is my own fluorescent yellow. Here she is right there. Thank you, Katie. Another fluorescent, a collection of fluorescents that I absolutely love is from a company called Case for Making. I'm looking here to see if I can find that palette quickly, and I have no idea where it is. My palette situation is a mess. But my own fluorescent yellow is got a creaminess to it, which I love. And Case for Making is also fantastic. Look at them. They're handmade watercolors. They have fantastic fluorescence. So great question. So anyway, this is a piece that I did in the creek. Literally was painting in the creek. So fun. And now, so the color decisions I made here, the composition, I wanted it to feel like a brush stroke. The words and the art to be like this big, bold stroke across the middle of the page, but, off center a little, because the thing with composition, it's like a balancing act, but you always want it to be a little off balance, right? Symmetry is cool, but symmetry is hard to pull off in an ideally pleasing way. So anyway, this piece I was working with a complementary, in a lot of ways, color scheme. Started with the greens, brought in the pinks, which is basically a version of red, and worked with those opposites, and then brought in this really bold, handwritten element. And then let's look at one final piece, and we'll continue on, friends. And remember, there's going to be a couple really fun painting exercises today, really different. Okay. Sorry, I was looking at questions. So this piece, the color played a huge role. Let's be honest, color plays a huge role in most of the pieces I do. I'm a colorist. I love bold, bright colors and interesting combinations of colors. And in a lot of ways, friends, this is not a traditional complementary color scheme, because it's not really red, which is the complement of green, but it reads as red in a lot of ways, and it functions visually the way our eyes interpret it as a complementary color scheme. And I want to really say that again, hopefully in a different way, that really brings home the importance of what I just said. Because I think, remember how we talked about fences on day one? And if you missed day one of Watercolorland, I am going to link it below. But we talked about the techniques that we learn in watercolor. Good morning, Tiffany. Good morning, Lab Accident. I laugh every time I hear that name. We talked about the techniques of watercolor, right? And remember, we did our charts. Let me pull one over. And we talked about how we so easily put fences around You know, we fence around, this is dry brush, this is lifting, and this is glazing. And we don't think about how they intersect. And it's the magic. It's the almost unexplainable intersection sometimes of these techniques that holds the most magic. Well, the same goes for color theory in composition. Good day, Jennifer. The same goes. This isn't a traditional complementary color scheme, but it visually functions as one because this color is near red. It's so intense and warm like a traditional red, even though we know it was made of pinks and reds and yellows and all that. So it's more of a coral. So remember that. We're going to break down, we're going to kick down more fences today around the idea of color theory. All right, friends. I am right now using, again, the GenCrafts paper. I did my budget paper review recently, and don't worry, I have a moderate and a luxe paper review coming up as well. They're just incredibly time intensive to create, but they are coming up. I will link the budget paper video below, and of course, I'm going to write my notes today to make sure I remember what videos I need to link to later. We have a question. How do we avoid blotches when layering colors? Well, I will say, number one, I don't always avoid blotches. Sometimes I like the blotches. They're like happy accidents. Number two, the amount of blotchiness that we get can be heavily impacted by the paper we're using. So if you're not using 100% cotton, which is fine. If you're not using some type of 100% cotton like Arches, I know it's pronounced Arch, but I will never pronounce it Arch. I just can't. It's always been Arches to me. Sorry, Arch. Anyway, if, you know, Arch is 100% cotton. A lot of brands have 100% cotton. If you're not using that and you're using some type of wood pulp combo, you might want to spray down your paper, dampen your paper evenly before you start. That can help with the blotches. I'll say right now, if you're using Strathmore 400, stop using it. I have very strong opinions about that paper, and you will always encounter blotches, very unpredictable paper. But anything else, you can dampen your paper thoroughly and then let it kind of softly, evenly dry a little bit before you start. That can help. If you get those blotches, you can use the lifting technique, add a little bit of water over top of the area, in between the area that's blotchy and the area that you want to blend the blotch out of, and then add a little bit of pressure over top, and you can kind of blend that blotch out typically, if the color hasn't sat for, you know, more than a day or so. So hopefully that helps. Another question. I hate that paper. GenCraft, just wondering what you like about it. Great question. So this is the GenCraft. It's not the 100% cotton. It's a very affordable paper. And I have found with the way that I paint, I use a lot of water. I also like a lot of detail. I am very hard on my paper. I'm not in love with the texture of GenCraft, but I like the way that it takes a beating. It doesn't pill easily. I like the way that it handles detail. I can use my finest brushes, but I still it still has that tooth and that texture. I like the feel of it. It's weighty. It lifts beautifully. So I can see, though, if you were someone that does a lot of glazing and a lot of layers with fine detail in each layer, it may not be the best budget paper for you. So, but that's what I like about it. The question, can you explain how using a vignette to help minimize background challenges? I need a little more clarification on that question. And I want to make sure I understand what you mean by vignette. Because there's so many ways I could interpret that word. You know, is that a collection of objects? Is that potentially some type of lighting question. So if you could give me a little more clarification, I'd appreciate it. Okay. So there are so many color approaches, friends. Sir Isaac Newton's being the one that we know most about, right? We know about the basic, grade school primaries that we learn about. We learn about red, we learn about blue, and we learn about yellow. So, and then we have the basic 12 color wheel that we learn about, right? Katie, could you actually pop one of the first slides? Just pop up the monochromatic slide for me. This is a color wheel that I made recently for that video on color scheme and color theory. And this is your classic 12 color wheel. And this is what most of us know as the classic approach to color. And it is extremely effective. And I will just say this, there's so many different approaches to color. There's different color wheels. We'll talk about the other one a little bit later. And they all have their faults. And one of the biggest ones, what does anyone know what I'm going to say is the biggest fault of this particular color wheel? Does anybody have a guess? I guess I'm testing your knowledge on whether or not you watched that video, but oh good, Kaya, you watched that video last night. Yeah, so this color wheel for me, especially when you're talking about red, blue, and yellow, there's just a lacking in what you can mix with red, blue, and yellow. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. So let me know in comments, have you made a color wheel like this? Have you painted your own since watching that video? If you've watched it, let me know in comments. All right, let's go back to the painting screen, and I want to show you this tool. My dad, I'll tell you a story. It's story time. My dad and my mom run a vintage, they do vintage collecting. They go out and they buy things. They go to estate sales, and they do a lot with like miniatures and jewelry. And my dad started to having to learn how to mix colors to repair items and to kind of make them perfect for selling. And so he'd be asking me these questions like, hey, Chris, he calls me Chris. No one else is allowed to call me Chris, by the way. He'd be like, so what do I mix with orange to make it like rusty? And I would give him ideas, and he would steal paint from the studio in little paint cups. And finally for Father's Day, I bought him a set of miniature paints, like a big set, like those enamel paints. And I bought him one of these. And so if you don't have one of these little tools, Amazon has them. Katie, if you want to pop up my Amazon favorites link, I have that listed there. If you want to pick one of these up, it's fantastic. It has the little spinny over it. So let's say you're on red and you want to know what happens to red when you add blue. And in that little window, it'll tell you. And there's all sorts of fantastic information on here about what's a hue, what's intensity, what's value. It's just fantastic. And it's not something I would want you to be like, while you're painting, sitting there being like, okay, what do I? No, I don't want you to build that fence around this for yourself, but it can be something really helpful to have around, like I love this, like red. And then if you add white, which we know this, but I think sometimes the visual is super helpful, right? So anywho, and then on the back, it's all about tints, and there is the triadic, all the different types of color schemes. Just fantastic little tool. Awesome. I want one of those. Yeah. Jennifer says Coloring Bliss has a download of complete color wheel so you can print it off for free. Perfect. If you want to pop that link in there, feel free. I think that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Okay. So we know that there's issues, right? We know that there's issues with that classic red, yellow, green, or blue. Oh my gosh. Red, yellow, blue situation, right? Because what happens when you try to mix, right? I'm going to just do this. So there's, as close as I've got under pressure here. Actually, I'm going to use my red from my palette because it's pretty, it's a little dirty right now, but it's okay. Yeah, so what happens? You don't necessarily get an interesting purple. You get this like dingy purple, right? Right. And so the simple yet I think powerful conclusion that I came to was get yourself a beautiful magenta on your palette. And while you're at it, get yourself a cyan as well, because that is the other color wheel that there's a lot of talk about with the advent of screens and printers. Do you ever evaluate my work for the CMY color wheel? Well, I'm just talking about it now. So you see what happens when I can mix this lovely, rich purple because I used Opera Rose here, which is fugitive, but they're gorgeous, more light fast magentas that you can bring into your palette. And so this is really where I'm at. And so the question was, do I think about the CMY cyan, magenta, yellow color wheel? And I do, really because of magenta. I basically, for me, the basic color wheel is a 13 color wheel. It's gotta have a magenta. It's gotta have a magenta. Yes, it's gotta have a magenta. I love quinacridone magenta. I think, I'm so bad at remembering this, but Core has a gorgeous magenta. If anybody can remember the exact name of the magenta, that is quite light fast, and it's one of the brightest on the market, with considering the light fast rating. So anyway, yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the color schemes that we make from the color wheel. Because this is important when we're thinking about composition, especially. All right. This is important. Really important. This is the little chart that I made. There is a mistake on here. And I knew it was coming, but we've got, I want to talk about the monochromatic first. And I know you've probably heard this a million times. We can go ahead and put up that monochromatic slide. So monochromatic color schemes are extremely calming, right? And so you start, it's one color, and it's basically shades and tints and full saturation versions of the same color. And I painted one of those, an example of one of those here. Monochromatic color schemes are incredibly calming. So this is one way for you to think about the use of color in your, what am I going to say? Compositions, friends, because you want to be able to impact folks' moods, right? At least I do. I mean, I have that power with my artwork to impact a mood or someone's joy. Do they feel joy? Do they feel nervous? Do they feel on edge because they looked at my artwork? Yeah, absolutely. So calm. If you want something calm, I would definitely explore a monochromatic color scheme. Next up, we have analogous. Analogous are colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So in the slide on the screen, friends, I'm showing it's blue and blue-violet, I think. And so there's a certain harmony. So there's more contrast here than a monochromatic because you're bringing in different colors, not just one color and shades and tints and saturations of one color. You're bringing in different colors. Now you can even go as far as analogous. It doesn't have to be two colors next to each other. I mean, I think some people would say the traditional definition of analogous is two colors next to each other, right? But you could go three colors. I mean, look at that. You could go blue, blue-violet, and violet. And that would be stunning. And later on, I'm actually going to go into that realm and show you a little something. We're going to paint together in a really, really crazy way to show you how you can expand upon an analogous color scheme. And friends, here again, let's talk about the fences. Let's talk about the fences. Does anyone know, is there a name for that? I was always taught analogous is 2 colors next to each other on the color wheel. Is there a name for when it's 3 colors or 4 colors? Is there a legit name for that? Let me know in comments if anybody knows the answer to that. But for me, going beyond 2 colors next to each other on the color wheel is a way of breaking down fences around these more rigid theories, right? And so that is where the magic lies. And another way of breaking down fences is not feeling like you have to paint with a color wheel next to you that you're examining and checking and making sure that you're following along and you're making the right decisions. What I want for you is I want you building instinct, right? I want you building instinct because instinct lives here. Fences, they live here. And when they can work together, that's the beauty. That's the joy zone. So we're here. We're building instinct. Thank you, Katie. Everybody say hi to Katie. Say hi, Katie. We love Katie. She is, okay, did anybody, I'm going to embarrass her right now, but it doesn't matter because her face isn't on the screen. Is anybody watch The Spanish Princess on Stars? Well, if you have, our dear Katie is a unbelievable doppelganger for is it Mary? Is her name Mary? I can't remember what her name is. The Princess of Spain. She looks just like her. It's incredible. It's incredible. Yeah. Say hi, Katie. She's awesome. Katie Rose. Anywho, we love her so much. I'm currently creating a small studio palette, and I'm debating between rose madder and magenta for my cool red. Any thoughts? I'm gonna let the comment section answer that one. I'm gonna let the comment section answer that one if they'd like to. I have a lot of thoughts. I would probably go with that core. I know I have it on my palette, but I have the half pans glued in and I can't remember the name of it, but there is a gorgeous bright magenta pink that is just fantastic. And I believe it is a little bit cool leaning. So go ahead and, friends, answer that one. Yeah, definitely magenta. Absolutely. Absolutely. Friends, we're going to do another giveaway today. Kelly, can you let me know on YouTube how many likes we're at right now? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know how many likes we're at. Gotta have my Coke Zero. Because once we get to a certain number of likes, we're going to do a giveaway. Let me tell you a little bit about the boring stuff of YouTube. YouTube wants to know that y'all are having fun. And the way that YouTube knows that you're having fun is that you hit the like button. Which is annoying because I know I watch a ton of videos and I'm not always hitting the like button. But anyway, we have 67 likes. That's fantastic. That's really nice. Thank you, friends. So here's the thing. I want more people to find this channel because I don't know if you can tell, but I am really passionate about teaching watercolor. And yes, I sell things, blah, blah, blah. You can buy my things or not. I don't care. What I really care about is that you're here with me and that I am helping you find joy in your days. And I want more people to find that joy. I really hope you know that that is true and that that's what I'm saying. And unfortunately, I need to play the algorithm game. So we're at 67 likes. If we get to 150 likes in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to do 2 giveaways. So Kelly, could you watch that for me? Now it's 104. Wow, you guys are fast. All right, 150 likes. I don't think we're having any problem getting there. I'm going to do 2 giveaways. So let's get on with it, though. Katie, go ahead and put up that complimentary slide, and let's get on to the next one. Okay. Complementary are colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel. Traditionally, what do we think of? Red and green. We think of blue and orange. We think of yellow and purple, right? But I'm pointing out one here, and it's red, orange, and I can't see. It's blue, green, or green. Yeah, blue, green. It's any color that are exactly opposite each other on the color wheel. This is a fantastic exercise, friends. I did it here. I used the red, orange, and the blue, green. And isn't that gorgeous? Look how gorgeous that is. I'm sorry, but I think that's gorgeous. So, you know, obviously red and green, pure red and green has a very Christmas connotation. So play around with kind of those more unique complements on your color wheel. Super fun. All right, let me see here. Kristy, you are my most frequently mentioned artist on Instagram. I point everyone in your direction. Wendy, thank you so much. Good heavens. It really means the world to me. It really does. It really does. Gina says, we need magenta or a cool red to make that purple. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what, Virginia? Yes, I'm going to get this scanned. Virginia asked if we can, if I can provide a download of this. Yes, but I'm going to make note of my mistake on here. There was a mistake. I really thought I was making a mistake when I filmed this. But in the video, if you remember, I said, I actually hope I screwed this up, because the point is I screwed it up, but it was still really pretty and effective. Anyway, I will make a download of this. I do also provide, I'm going to provide the link to the download of the color wheel as well, if you don't feel like making your own. Hello, Lucy's Art and Soul. So glad you just joined. Virginia says, you were my favorite too. When I first started, you were the first artist I started to follow. Wow, very cool. All right. So complementary color schemes, opposites on the color wheel. I'm going to bring this bad boy back because this is our uniquely, this one functions as a complementary color scheme, but in a breaking down fences kind of way, right? This one. Yeah. Did y'all notice I fixed my nail? So it's too funny. You guys notice my nails unbelievably a lot of the time. And so these are my natural nails, and I broke one like bad. And someone commented and said, I couldn't stop staring at your nail on Monday. Couldn't stop staring at your nail. What happened? So I ordered from Target to deliver press-ons because I didn't want you distracted by my stubby nail. Anywho, I just had to tell that story. Okay, so complementary color schemes in composition, they're punchy. There's a lot going on. You know, y'all, I'm gonna grab a couple more pieces of artwork because I think this is fun. Friends, let me know in comments if seeing, is it boring for you to see some of my artwork and have me explain and talk about decisions? Do you like it, or is it just like, could you do without it? Let me know. Because if the general consensus is, Kristy, I could do without that, let's do something else, then I'll stop. But if you like seeing my artwork in the context of these color scheme conversations, and I promise we are painting today, but if you like it, not boring, Vicky says, thank you. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's look at this one. You know this one. This was the colored pencil and watercolor thing that I had going on. This could definitely be, even though there's blue in here, primarily red and green. Good example of a color scheme that functions as a complementary color scheme, but because of the blue and the little bit of purple in here, it doesn't look Christmassy. That's why that one works, I think. This one is such a classic. This should be trimmed right here. I think I did this in a live. Classic. I think this was a Colby Bloom from Colby's book. And hey, guess what, friends? You know Colby the writing desk or this writing desk. I can't even remember my own Instagram handle, let alone someone else's. I am interviewing Colby next week 2 times, and we are going to have the most incredible video for you. I'm going to interview her, and then she is going to teach me side by side, and oh my gosh, I can't wait. Just so fun. Anyway, really great monochromatic example that isn't a classic monochromatic example. Maggie, welcome. I'm so glad that you're new here, and I appreciate your kind words so much. So we've got like peachy monochromatic, and then we got blue-green monochromatic, but it still is has that very calming effect that a traditional one color monochromatic scheme has. Let's see here. What else do we have? Oh, let's talk about this one and why this one. I think this one's functioning well. I do. Lucy's Art and Soul. I'm the only one of the only notifications. Yes, Kat. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry, Kat. I am so gonna be sending emails for these. I kind of underestimate how interested folks are in what I do. I really do. I always talk myself down like, oh, I don't need to announce that. People, if they want to come, they come. I'm terrible. I'm so terrible at marketing sometimes. A viewer sent me a book on how to brag better in marketing. It was really, really sweet. Okay. So this one is probably closest to a tetratic, maybe a split complementary color scheme. Here's why I think it works. Or if you want to tell me why you think it works, or maybe you want to tell me why you think it doesn't work. Again, it functions in ways as an opposite because there's some orangey undertones in these pinks. That is the opposite of blue. And the way the pink is used, and remember that question earlier where someone says, how do you darken a color without neutralizing it? See, I wanted this flower to look darker than this one, but essentially the same color. So I brought in magentas and a little bit of purples, and I think it worked reasonably well. All right. Y'all know I'm up for you critiquing me, so don't be bashful. Critique the crap out of me. Is that okay that I said crap? This one. Anybody remember this one from my gouache? I think this was a gouache video. Or no, this was an art haul video. Keep up the boops, Kelly said. Almost there. We need to get to 150 boops. That's a like, friends. 150, and we're going to do 2 giveaways live. If you're watching on the replay, friends, the giveaways are just for the live folks. I do apologize. Don't get mad at me. Okay, we're going to do 1 more of these. So why does this one work? I don't know why this one works because it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit into any of these, does it? Monochromatic, analogous, complementary, split complementary, tetratic, triadic. I don't think it really fits, but it works. Why does it work? Contrast. There's a perfect balance, right? Interest. The way that the white is scattered, let's call it the color white. We know it's not a color, but it's functioning as a color or a lack of color on the page. The way that it's scattered about. This is a breaking down fences color scheme. It doesn't fit into a perfect category, but it works. It's compelling. Your eyes traveling. It's getting distracted by the painting behind it. Your eyes traveling consistently. It almost has a vanishing point effect that's going upwards. We're going to talk about vanishing point a little bit more later, but look at that because it kind of sprouts from the bottom and fans out. Yes, you're right. You think it's complementary and monochromatic. Okay, cool. Yeah, Love it. All right, one more. Oh, which one? Which one? Oh my gosh, I don't know which one I want to show you. Oh my gosh, there's paintings flying everywhere. Like literally everywhere. Oh yeah, this one. Let's get into this. Actually, I think I know what this one is. Let's talk about this one. So compositionally speaking, from a color perspective, because that's why we're here today. We're here today to talk about color theory for composition, right? Really like your painting reviews. Okay, good. This one I would say is quite close to a tetratic color scheme, which is where you have a base color and then 3 additional colors that are equidistant from one another, right? So the base color here is probably this orangey, yellowy orangey color. And then you've got the, this is probably a blue, what is this getting into? A blue violet. I don't have my color wheel in front of me, but from a color perspective, oh, thank you. Thank you, Katie. Yes, I'm thinking we're in the tetratic zone. But I talked about this in the color theory video, friends. Yes, the formal tetratic color scheme, right? You think, oh, I've got to mix the perfect orange yellow. I've got to mix the perfect violet red or red violet, whichever way. I know there's a certain way to say them. I've got to mix. No. There is margin. There is grace. There is grace in color theory. Hear me again. Let's put that up on the screen. There is grace in color theory. Many would lead you to believe that there is not, but there is. It's in the margins. Do you see where that blue and that blue-green meet in the bottom left-hand corner there? Where they meet, that's grace. That's grace. Because there's stuff happening in that margin that can't be explained perfectly, that can't be diagnosed, that can't be categorized perfectly. And that is where I live. And that's where I want you to live too. And there's nothing wrong about learning the hard and fast rules. I want you to. I mean, clearly, I'm teaching you some of the hard and fast theory, right? But quickly move on from there and start building your instinct by doing. Building your instinct by doing and making ugly and fixing ugly and recovering your ugly paintings. That is where the grace kicks in. That is where the momentum happens, in the ugly. That's right. All right. I could go on and on. Okay. So let's pull up our split complementary. Let's talk about the last 3 real quick. Split complementary, and this is where I made the on purpose-ish mistake in the last video. Don't worry, I am going to link that video below. I'm going to stop hugging my paintings. Also, I'm really hugging them. Oh, here comes a question. Not to sound dumb, no. This is still very confusing for me. Okay. I love that you shared that. And I love that you said that. And this is what I'm going to say, because I think I know why. Because every time I sit down, friends, I have 2 color theory books over on my desk here. They're brand new. I bought them because I knew that I'd be teaching and talking a lot about color theory. I needed a refresher. I felt confused. And here's the thing, this color theory stuff, especially for those of us that are more creatively inclined, that are more free spirits. Maybe for those of us like me, I was not a classic good student, never was. I learned in very different ways. There's something that happens in brains like ours. You've got all this stuff coming in, monochromatic, analogous, split, complementary, tetratic, blah, 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 blah. It's all coming in and it's all swirling around in your brain. And you're trying to process it. and make sense of it in a way that you paint or you function. And at some points, your brain just times out. You're like, nah, it's too much. So the best thing that I can tell you when you feel like that, and it makes sense that you feel like that, you're not the only one that feels like that. I feel like that. I felt like that last night as I was reviewing today's script. I felt like that the day that I was doing the voiceover, and I realized I screwed up this split complementary painting that I did. But I left it in because I knew that that would put y'all at ease. I hoped it would. So here's my recommendation. Which of these is most interesting to you? Which of these, and I know we haven't talked about the bottom three yet, but which of these right now is your eye drawn to? Which do you think is most pretty, most attractive? Are you willing to comment and tell me? Katie, can you put this full screen? I want to take this moment, friends, and help our friend here. All right, which one is most attractive to you? I'm going to go ahead and let you take a moment. And you can literally just say top left, top middle, top right, bottom right. You don't have to try to, yeah, just tell me which one. Mary says, oh, let me see if I can pull this back down and read this. Yes, I can. Oh, good. Thank you, Kelly. Mary says, the one thing that I found to benefit me is for me to experiment with colors and to read about them. I studied them intensely at times until I started to make better friends with the color wheel. Yeah, absolutely. So whichever one of these, friend, that you decided was your favorite, I want you to just learn about that one. I want you to take 5 minutes at some point during the rest of the week, just one 5-minute session with yourself and that one color scheme. Google it. Just read what you can about it. See how other artists have attacked it. Just one of them. Because sometimes it's like when you're dealing with all 6, it's like, oh my Lord. Right? So try that for me. Okay? I think it will help. One at a time. Interest begets interest. Understanding begets interest. Let's put that up on screen. Understanding begets interest. But if you try, understanding begets interest. If you try to understand all of 6 of these at the same time, you're going to lose interest because you're going to be overwhelmed. So just pick one and run after it. All right? Okay, let's get split complementary back up here and let's talk about that one. And we are so close to painting, friends. We are so close. Are you still with me? Tell me, are you still with me? And Kelly, how are we doing with comments? How are we doing? All right, so split complementary, friends, you're going to choose a base color. You're going to find its complement. So in this example, I'm choosing the yellow-orange. Its complement is the blue-violet. So either color on either side of the blue and violet, that's your split complementary. So the split complementary color scheme that is pictured on the screen right now is yellow-orange. Yep. Yellow-orange, blue, and violet. There you go. There you go. That is split complementary. Split complementary color schemes. Top, middle. She like is that you? The top, middle? Okay. That's analogous. Yes, we're all still here. Change mine, bottom left. Bottom left is split complementary, the one we're talking about right now. So chase after it. Split complementary color schemes are my favorite too. Split complementary color schemes are incredibly vibrant, but really fun. So play around with those, learn about those, and just focus on that one. Yeah, knowledge begets interest. All right, cool. Let's move on to Tetratic. Tetratic is wild. Tetratic is even more bold and probably the most difficult to pull off in your compositions. So basically with Tetratic, you've got a base color and then 3 additional colors that are equidistant from the base color. So the base color is orange. Skip 2, you're at red violet, I think. Yep. Skip 2, you're at blue. Skip 2, you're at green. What is it? Yellow green. Sorry, I'm reading all different screens. That is your tetratic color scheme. Really interesting one. Super, super vibrant. And again, let's talk about how do we break down fences of this one, because it is vibrant. And how do we build this into a composition? How do we even start? Where does the tetratic color scheme actually function in real life? Well, start with orange. Paint an orange flower. Let's do it. I'm going to stop talking. Let's do it. All right. And you know what? Katie, quick, put up triadic. I need to paint, but I want to explain triadic. 3 colors, evenly spaced. All right. Go back to tetratic and let's get at it. I'm inspired. I'm going to start singing. Well, I guess I already did start singing. Oh, friends, color makes me so happy. Just remember that when you get overwhelmed, color makes us happy. Does color make you happy? It makes me happy. Let's just focus on that, okay? So, yes, I am using my Art for Joy's Sake palette. All right, so 3 colors evenly spaced, triadic. We're going to do a triadic. I am going to start with that red orange. I need to clean this off. If you want to paint along with me, get yourself going here. Question, can we have downloads for all of your color wheels? Yes, I will make that happen. Let me write myself a note. You see where I've been writing myself notes? Isn't this fun? You are not the only one who randomly sings things. What's your favorite thing to sing when you get happy? Tell me. Tell me, tell me, tell me. No, I love to sing. I'm reading these questions. Landscapes could work with tetratic, right? Absolutely. 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 Now, Mel also sings. Okay, I need to downloads. Friends, if you're here, I want to talk to my replay friends. Hello. Okay, replay friends. This is for you. You're not here yet, but you're here. What do you sing? Do you sing when you're happy? Do you sing randomly? I want to know about it. Garden. Usually whatever song is stuck in my head. Yeah, I know. Okay, so a tetratic color scheme. I'm going to start with that orangey red. And I'm just going to paint myself simple bloom here. I need to get an oranginess going on. It's orange-ish, right? And then the bluey, purpley thing, right? Let's see what happens. Little leafy moment, right? Okay, so we start there. There's really not much going on. There's not I sing at Christmas time. Friends, do you wanna know the song that I sang to my daughter? Each of my kids has a song that I sang to them. My son's song, and I'm gonna keep just adding these 2 colors, and then we're gonna talk about composition. The song that I sang to my son, anybody know the movie Beaches? I love that movie with Barbara Hershey and Bette Midler. Oh my gosh, that movie. That is my best friend and my favorite movie. And there's a song in there. I don't know the title of it, but it goes, baby mine, don't you cry. Baby mine, dry your eyes. Anyway, randomly, that was the song that I sang. We were in the hospital. My children are adopted from birth, but we have relationships with both of their first mamas. And we were in the hospital, and Mama T, that's what we call Izzy's first mama, you know, was something, nurses being checked, and she handed me Isaac, and she was doing her thing, and I started singing that song randomly. So that is one that I sing often. And then what brought me there was when you said Christmas songs. And so Irie, my daughter, she was in the NICU for a while. And gosh, I hope you're okay with story time, friends. I'm just blabbing on. I'm blabbing on because I'm happy. It was just before Christmas time, and I was so nervous about getting home in time for Christmas. Christmas is like my favorite time of the year. And for some reason, she was a sick little baby girl. And I started singing her, "Oh, Come All Ye Faithful." And so I sing that song. So "Oh, Come All Ye Faithful" is something I sing often when I'm happy now. And one of my best friends, Laura, bought a sign, a wooden sign, and it says, "Oh, Come All Ye Faithful." And I know it's designed for Christmas time, but it is up in her nursery all the time. Anywho, love it. Okay, so we've got Triadic here, 3 colors even. I lost my color wheel. I think my computer just rando shut down, and I was looking. Oh, there it is. Hi. Okay. So we need a yellow green. We need a yellow green. Okay, so when we start thinking about, you love my stories. Thank you, Katie. Love beaches, right? Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh. So when we're thinking about color theory for composition, yeah, what's my next move? Katie, let's go back to full screen painting. What is my next move? This is where so many of us get stuck. Oh gosh, what do I want to do? What's my focal point? I don't know. I don't know yet. I'm being honest, friends. I have no cotton picking clue. But my instinct is telling me make this flower bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that. I'm going to decide that this flower is going to become my focal point. That's a good next decision. That's a make sense next decision. And remember, we're in the tetratic zone. I'm making me a tetratic situation here. But breaking down fences by adding that pinkish color, but it's still working, still tetratic. Okay. Nice. All right. Next decision. Let's get that yellow green going. I need a little bit of this emerald. Again, friends, I am using the Art for Joy's Sake palette. I'm not thinking about composition right now. I'm just thinking about color. I'm walking you through this, friends. I'm walking you through. I'm just narrating my creative stream of consciousness here. I am not forcing myself not to think about composition. You don't need to be making all the decisions all the time. You make one decision at a time and let that decision then lead you to your next. Does that make sense? I think sometimes we get frozen and scared and just overwhelmed because we're trying to make all the decisions. We're trying to think about the end results at the beginning, and that's fine. More clearly, we're trying to think about all the decisions we need to get to the end result in the beginning. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. One decision at a time. Let that next decision lead you. How did I mix the orange with my palette? I went to the red, a little bit of the peach, and the fluorescent yellow. That's what I did. Yeah, use a complementary color for the shadow. Absolutely. Absolutely. What is on my brush right now? The green. Okay. Oh my gosh, I got so excited. I forgot what was on my brush. All right, right now, again, I'm just thinking about establishing the tetraticness of this piece. So, okay, we got the green in there, right? Already, this is lovely. This color, this works. This is lovely. This is balanced. Great. Not all of the colors are full saturation. We've got some highs and lows, lights and darks going here. All right. Yeah, the yellow is important. Yellow is important to get a nice orange out of this palette. For sure. Okay. Now, my next decision is, where do I want to go with this composition? Like, what do I want this to look? Do I want it to everything to swirl around to keep this focal point going? Like, where am I going? That's where my head's at. I'm adding some violet here to kind of give this a center. It needs a center. These need a few ends for me to feel good about life. All right, I feel better now. I broke down some fences just there because I added a violet. The violet is not part of this tetratic color scheme, but it's fine. It works. See, we're knocking fences down. Yep. Okay. So my next decision is, how do I want this composition to go? And I'm thinking, and I'm pondering, and I'm unsure, and I'm okay with that. Be okay with being unsure. Be okay with being unsure. I'm using a number 6 round today, just so you're aware. Kelly, how we doing on those likes? We needed 150 likes. Did we get it in 15 minutes? Did we get it? I feel like we should have gotten it. I want to do that giveaway, y'all. I want to do that giveaway. I'm going to bring in some of that blue violet shadows for my leaves. Oh yeah, we did. Okay. In a few minutes, friends, I'll do the giveaway. Super excited. I'm going to do a few little, I don't know, pods. And this is a color that just kind of happened because I had the green and I had the blue violet on my brush. Hold on, y'all. I want to check something. Yeah, blue violet. I want to make sure I'm calling it the right thing. When I get in my joy zone, I don't really do well with naming things. Okay, so this works because I'm still using the colors, the yellow green, I'm using the blue violet to make this dusty gray. So it still works. It still works. That is my favorite that you are doing now. Isn't that gray color pretty? I thought so. Thanks. I thought so. Okay. Now, right now, the composition is weird. It's just straight up weird. I do not care for it. So my next decision is to give it some breath, some air. It needs to breathe. It needs something hanging downwards, I feel. It needs some loftiness. This is the same orange, just watered down. We're still in Tetratic land here. And some wispy stems. Yep, maybe a little leafiness coming off of it. Oh yeah, this is nice. Friends, don't forget to get your questions up there. Mel says she adores that red, orange, blue, violet. Isn't that fun? Liz looks better than anything I paint. Liz, we don't talk to ourselves like that on this channel. Christina, hello from Spain. Hello from Pennsylvania. So glad you're here. Janice says, the blue leaf in the middle confuses me. I love everything else, but to me, the blue, hold on. Let me get that back. To me, the blue throws it off. Maybe I don't have a good imagination. No, the blue leaf is unresolved. I'm not done with her yet. It pops and it distracts from this, which is my focal point. So I'm there with you, but it is unresolved. And this is a great thing to point out. In your own painting, if something like this happened, you might get too focused on the thing that was confusing or frustrating. But for me, I know that I'm going to get back to it. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to resolve other things that I'm excited about resolving right now. And also these other things that I'm doing right now, whilst ignoring the weird blue leaf, may help inform what to do with the blue leaf later. Does that make sense? Give me a, oh yes, what you said just makes sense. Give me a, oh yes, in comments if that makes sense, because that is so important. Will you maybe do a class on learning size proportion? I end up with small flowers, giant leaves, etc. That's a good idea. I love that. Virginia, can you email me that idea, please? I know you email me. Can you email me that idea? So let me repeat that. There are going to be areas of your painting, especially in the early moments of your painting, that are weird and don't make sense. But you need to continue on. You need to let them breathe and simmer. Do some other things that you're excited about doing. Make one decision at a time, yes. And then let the evolution of the painting inform some of those frustration areas later on. Later on. Love that. Tammy says, I am wondering if I only use your color wheel colors for a while, if that may help me wrap my head around color theory. I absolutely think it could. Absolutely, 100%, just to add a magenta, okay? Make it a 13 color wheel. Maybe Kristy needs to paint her own color wheel that has no basis in scientific theory, but has a basis in a lot of emotional experience. But yes, I think that is a fantastic idea. If you missed that question, it was, if I maybe stick to painting with the 12 color wheel for a while, maybe that'll help me wrap my head around color theory. And I agree wholeheartedly. I think that's a fan-freaking-tastic idea. Mary, I saw that you emailed about the lizard lick brush. Thank you. I saw it. The gray looks like a start of eucalyptus. Absolutely. I'm loving this here. Loving this so much. I'm going to put a little sprig of it here. And this is a color decision as much as a composition decision. Okay, let me explain why. Let me explain why. Crazy blue leaf, too strong, too bold. Focal point flower, really bold, but I'm okay with it. This little spriggy, wispy wonderfulness that is made from all of these colors is really starting to help balance the boldness here. So I'm going to put more of it here. Are you with me? Does that make sense? So let's do that. Let's get her done. You know what I love? You know what I love? Would you want to try orange in the blue leaf? Oh, you read my mind. You read my mind. What I was going to say, you know what I love? I adore when you all tell me what you're confused about in my paintings, because you know what? It inspires conversation. It inspires understanding. Because when you're asking such insightful questions like that and expressing legit confusion, it inspires the most robust conversation. So keep them coming. All right? Keep them coming. All right, what am I doing here? I'm making more of my blue violet because we need it for what I'm about to do. My whole attitude towards color and color theory is that if I have a good feeling when I'm painting and the colors have harmony, that all is well. I love that. That's really how I feel. That's really how I feel. Jennifer says, I'm so heavy-handed. Ugh. Jennifer, my suggestion for that, and my assumption in what I'm about to suggest is that you mean heavy-handed, that you use a lot, like your colors you are using more mass tone, applying the colors more heavily, and you're not seeing the sheerness and the lightness in the watercolor. Make a full page of this thing right here. This thing right here. Do a whole page of it. All different colors, all different sizes, all different shapes. I don't care, but this real watered down, do a whole page of it, and then come back to me. Tell me how you feel. Okay? This right here is an attempt at me resolving the seemingly weirdness of this big blue leaf, because I'm not ready to add opposite shadows to this yet. I'm just not. Will you please say what colors you are using, mixing together as you go? I will try. Okay, again, I'm using the Art for Joy's Sake palette. Katie, put that link up just so they have it. I'm using the Art for Joy's Sake palette. I'm not going to call these out by the cutesy names. I'm just not, because that's confusing. I'm using the blue and the purple to mix my blue violet. Blue and purple. And this is about a 50-50. This is 50% water, 50% pigment paint. Okay. A little bit more intensity. There we go. All right. This is helping. This is helping. Now, compositionally speaking, it's still a mess. It's all over the place. I'm okay with that. There's two spots of this blue now. It's too balanced. It's too symmetrical. It doesn't work as well as if there were three. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Oh, yeah. This isn't me being boastful. This is me talking myself through a tricky spot. That's better. That's better. All right, now I'm ready. Now I'm ready to add some shadow into this. Lovely. Actually, what I want to do first, taking my red, rinsing, taking a good amount of the fluorescent yellow, and a little bit of this bright pink. I'm going to go add another kind of real heavy-handed petal that's going to overlap that a little bit, that blue leaf a little bit. Really heavy-handed there. Okay. And then I'm going to get in here just with that red and fluorescent yellow mix. And I'm going to go ahead and see about a little glazing just to tone down certain areas of that bright blue leaf better. All right. Susan says, I really want to know how people make these paintings with gorgeous colors picked out for the background wash. Do you mean something like, oh gosh, I'm not going to be able to find it now. I had that peony painting up before. Here it is. Do you mean something like this? Like how I make decisions about this? Let me know if this is the one. All right. What next? What next? What next? What next? I'm gonna take this mixture of the blue and the purple that's already on and just fill out these little, they were going to be pods. Now they look like gray kumquats, but I still love them. I'm okay with them. I'm going to add a little water here and do some lifting or pulling, or pull off some of this color. Let that sit there for a moment and then lift with a clean, dry brush and dab after the lift, dab, lift, dab. If you're just joining in, we are working on a triadic color scheme here, talking about how color impacts compositional choices. Indeed. Love it. Feel like this could benefit from some swirly doos, potentially. Maybe, 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 maybe not. I don't know. I haven't decided fully yet. And that's okay. Talk yourself through these things that you're doing. All right, talk yourself through them. Sort of, but with 2 or more color choices, and usually faded around the painting. It mesmerizes me. I fail every time. Oh, you're talking more like the classic, almost like that. What's that called? Bokeh, Bokeh, where there's a couple different colors and they're fading, and they look like there's like areas that are really soft and then areas that are more, but it's all very faded in general. I think it depends on the focal point of the focal area, what color that is. And then a lot of times that style, they're using a muted complement or a muted analogous color choice or choices in the background. That would be my very fast and loose answer to that or suggestion. Is anybody painting along with me? I'd love to know. And I'm going to do that giveaway soon, friends. Yes, it's a photography term. Exactly. It's like those little light bursts and recreating that in watercolor. Yeah. Okay. I'm getting out my liner brush because we need some contrast. Purple and blue from my palette, but much less water. And we're going to go in and get some lovely linear detail going. This is an experiment, friends. This is the kind of thing I would encourage you to do if you want to play around with one of these color schemes. Remember how I mentioned earlier that if someone is feeling overwhelmed, they should pick one of these color schemes and just play with it until it feels a little bit better and feels a little bit more understood, right? That's what I want you to do here. That's what I want you to do. And this is it. And are you going to come out with a masterpiece? Maybe. Maybe not. But this is painting. Painting isn't painting for a museum or painting for a sale. I've been there, friends. I've tried that. I've tried that game. That gets me nowhere. Yikes. How do you put that dark blue around it? How do you put that dark blue around everything? How do I or why? Like, are you saying like you don't like that, which is fine? Or like, how, help me. Help me. It's fine if you are, like I said, I love when you question what the things that I'm doing. So just help me so I can respond to that. I want to respond to that. I'm very curious. Very curious. If everything is bright, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming, so the brain needs areas of calm with some colors that are more muted. Exactly, Nora. Nora, that is such a good point. Kelly, can you put Nora's comment up, feature that, please? So we need visual rest. Visual rest is so important. And this focal point is not rest. This is energy. So I'm balancing this energy with rest, with this area muted, with this area muted with water, with this area again muted with water. And believe it or not, these contrasty dark blue areas, I believe, maybe you disagree with me, but I also believe they're giving visual rest with a dark contrast. Yeah. Does that make sense? You showed a painting that had, Kat says, that had dark blue around the flowers. Oh, not this painting, Kat? This one? This is a video. Go check it out. I will link this one. for you, Kat, if this is the one, you're talking about, does make sense. Good. This is a whole painting I did in a video it was during peony season. It was in May. Peony with blue background. I'm making myself a note. Oh, wow. My note section is getting to be a hot mess. Okay. All right. Love that. Love that. Love that. That particular video is so much fun with filling in the blue. Virginia remembers that video. Awesome. I'm glad I'm not just remembering it and I actually didn't post that video. All right. So this contrast here is providing visual rest because it is a muted contrast. It's not a bright, bold blue violet, right? It is, yes, that one. It's muted. So there we have it. And I'm just working around with this liner brush. I love this. This is coming together for me. Okay, where is my blue leaf doubter? How are we feeling now? I want honesty. Is it making more sense to you? I want all the honesty. Come on. Come on. I'm adding a little bit of, I don't know what these might be. Maybe these are a strange color fuchsia with these little dotted centers coming down. But it's a great way for me to add this blue into the composition some more. I feel like right here we need something to continue to ground the eye back to the focal point, but I don't think it needs to be as light as this, but definitely not as dark as this. Individually, I don't care for those colors, but this is beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. That can happen. Yep. Love the blue leaf, but don't like, I want to see this. Where did it go? Love the blue leaf, but don't like the orange blob on it. I know it's supposed to look like a petal, but not on my screen. Makes sense. Got it. Okay, so I am going up here with my number 12. My number 12 is going to be a very absorbent. It's a brush that's going to hold a lot of water. And so I mixed the emerald green, fluorescent yellow, and a little bit of this lighter olive green right here on the palette. I'm just adding a few little leafy moments, kind of a backstroke into the focal point flower. Ah, I love that. I do. I love that. That's pretty. That's pretty. Okay, time check. All right, friends. This is all unresolved. This is unresolved here. I'm going to need to rein it in because we got some exciting stuff to work on before we close for the day. We are not really ready to close for the day. So we got some stuff to move on to. How you like them apples? Does that work better? I think that might work better. I love, but every bit of feedback y'all have given me has been absolutely spot on. And you need to be proud of yourselves for that. So, uh-oh, Kelly just texted me. Okay, thank you, buddy. All right, let's do that giveaway before we move on to the next section. Okay, we're going to do the birthday thing again. And Christopher, you cannot win again. I'm sorry, bud. You cannot win again. All right, let me show you what you're going to win. Where did I put it? I don't know. Hold on. Hold on. I got to get it. you's gonna win this bag. I was at a Creek dinner. Katie, let's do the yeah, thanks, bud. Thank ya. Giveaway time. Y'all are funny with that ticker. I was at that Creek dinner I mentioned, and I gifted these bags to everyone, and it is a 5-month calendar in this spiral, and the idea is these remaining days of 2022 will be my offering. What are you going to create? What are you going to give to the world? What are you going to do in the next 5 months? How are you going to wrap up 2022? And so that's what this is. But inside, you're going to get the Art for Joy's Sake palette. If you already have it, gift it or use it in your car. Put it in your car. Put it in an extra spot. And you're also going to get the Art for Joy's Sake brush inside of there. I'm going to give away 2 of these. So we need the birthdays, 2 birthdays that are closest to today. And that can be backwards or forwards in time. So like if your birthday was yesterday, you could win. You know what I'm saying? So start calling out your birthdays, friends. Go ahead and start calling out those birthdays. And we need 2 of them. And then the winners are going to email hello@kristyrice.com and give us your mailing address. All right. There you go. Thank you, Katie. Super dupes. Okay. We're going to move on. We are going to move on. I talked a little bit about balance. You know what? Let me stop here for a minute. Can we go to double screen? Let's stop here for a minute. I want to take a couple questions because this is a lot. Processing this is a lot. What questions do you have at this point? Did you have, and in addition to that, in the comments, as you're scrambling to tell us your birthdays, what breakthroughs? Have you had any breakthroughs? What questions or breakthroughs? I want to know about them. Okay. Dee says I inspired her to order paint and get back into this. Awesome. Just married 62 years. That should count for something. Absolutely. When I run out of color, when I mix colors and I run out, I cannot mix them again. That's okay. It doesn't I wonder if there's a way you can find to be okay with that. I wonder. Just mix as you go. I don't mix big wells of color when I'm painting. I grab and go and yeah. Lauren is on vacation. Kathleen just found this page and is enjoying the explanations. Wonderful. The question was, would you do a background on this painting and how would you choose a color? If I were to do a background right now, I tell you 100% I'll just do it because I'm going to mix all the colors that I've been using. All right. See what it looks like. So this is the tetratic, or excuse me, the triadic all mixed together. I'm going to add a little blue because that's a weird color. Let's see what, I'm going to answer this question by painting. Keep it double screen, Katie. Let's see where this gets us. I'm just curious. This could ruin it, but I'm so curious. I am so curious because this was my instinct. I love that question. And when you asked it, I was like, I know what I'm going to try. All right, let's get in here. And I'm making strokes broad. They kind of are, and I'm working fast here, kind of representative of leaves in ways. It's like a press and lift going around. I'm notching out around some of these tighter areas, but loosely. I'm moving quick. I'm working quick. They're also drying quick. Some water and work this out. This is interesting. What do you think? This was my first instinct. And the fun thing about this kind of background, you could get it in here, rough it in, fast and loose, rough this in, let it dry, come back, and you could work over top of it, right? With more. And I might just have to do that. This is a prime example of why making one decision at a time is so powerful. I had no idea that I might do this. I had no idea that I might do this. And this feels like magic. It's still not resolved. But now that I've done this background, started this background, I already have the idea for what I'm going to do next when it's dry. And if we have time, I'm going to show you. I also clap like this, like a 2-year-old when I get really excited. I don't know why. So I sing, "Oh, come all ye faithful." Yep, I sing and I clap. Y'all, my weird is showing. That's where I'd start. I'm learning to go back to my paintings and add another layer or two with fresh eyes, right? Yes. Judy. Judy McInnes, will you email me? Email me and just in the subject put 40-pound Easter egg so I can remember why I wanted you to email me. Will you do that for me? All right. Okay. Lorna loves my weird. We should be celebrating while we paint. Yes. Okay. We're going to come back to this. I promise. Whew. Time to take a breath. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Big one. Breathe from your belly. Out through the mouth. Because we're going to head into something a little cray-cray. All right. So I talk a lot about balance, but it's like an imbalance. And harmony is maybe the more appropriate word for this balance that I speak of. Okay. Composition and balance and harmony is tricky. We've been talking a lot about it. You want odd numbers of things. All right. You want odd numbers. So if you're working on a composition, I'm going to split this page right down the middle-ish. You want odd numbers, right? Is there a question coming through? I don't know. All right. So if you're doing a little something, you want odd numbers. That's more visually pleasing. Because imagine if I go in here, that's just not as interesting as it was when there was 3, right? The same can go for color. If you have a scheme going on with a lot of things going on, whether it's a landscape, whether it's floral, odd numbers are interesting than even. So right here, I have a field, I have a mountain range, I have a sky. 1, 2, 3. Odd numbers of elements, right? That creates harmony. That creates a certain type of balance. Janice has a question. Do you ever do a whole wash across the paper first? Yes, I've done it from time to time. I did it. on TikTok a few times. I was experimenting. It's not a staple of my style, but I have done it. How are we doing on birthdays, Kelly? And it's super fun. Great for mixed media. We can talk about that on Friday more, because Friday is our mixed media day. And friends, if today's your first day here with me, there was day 1 and day 2. I'm going to link them below. After this is finished and is processed by YouTube, I'm going to get a lot of this information linked below. You're not going to find it now, but it will be there soon. All right. So, okay, right now we've got even numbers. Not as interesting. Let's make it interesting again. Right? And that can also work with other elements that we add. 1 leaf, 2 leaf, only put a leaf on 3 of these. That makes it really much more interesting than if they each had a leaf. That's predictable, right? And you're like, well, why do I have flowers without leaves? Well, figure out another way for them to make sense, right? Make smaller leaves in a similar color. And all of a sudden, you're starting to build an organic, visually interesting composition. Now, this is a rough sketch, right? But you can see how this is starting to become pleasing to the eye. Not jarring, not confusing, pleasing. I mean, it's a start. Sorry, you have to see my arm. I'm scrolling through the questions. I'm here for the weird. My eyes go in a Z shape. I like that. I like that. Next, we need contrast, friends. Contrast helps. We talked about contrast here. Let me explain again. We had this bright blue leaf that was functioning not so great, right? And we had the bold, saturated focal point, and they were competing with one another. So contrast, I added contrast by dulling down a really saturated brush full of that blue violet, right? With a little bit of the red orange or the orange red, right? The red orange. And I created contrast, which brought things back into balance or harmony. Hope that makes sense. And then we have asymmetry. Asymmetry, right? So let's see here. Symmetry. I mean, something to look at, right? Something to look at. Asymmetry, but still with a balance, with a harmony. You've got a complementary thing going on here. This is abstract, clearly. You would admit this is more interesting to look at. At least for me it is. Is it more interesting for you to look at? So this is a very, very, very simplified way of explaining this, but compelling asymmetry is just so thought-provoking visually. Yeah. So I'll give you a floral example. And then I'll probably try to do a quick landscape example. All right. 4-petaled flower with 2 leaves right here. That's interesting. This is very symmetrical. 2 petals on top, 2 petals on bottom, and 2 leaves almost directly across from each other. Now, you tell me what's more interesting. That's more interesting. I think this one is. We've got 5 petals. They're all in kind of, they're going in different angles. And then we've got this lovely odd number of the green leaves around the 5-petaled flower. So we've got odd numbers. We've got contrast because of the complementary color scheme, pink and an olive green. And we've got asymmetry. I'm gonna make notes. Symmetry. Is it making sense? If it's making sense, head into comments and say, make it sense. Virginia, you like the first one? Then you need to explore symmetry in your work, because that is where your joy's at then. Making sense. Good. Making sense. Yep, making sense. And it's helping me. I'm glad, Lorna. Thank you. Okay. All right, y'all. Let's go to side-by-side screens. Thank you, Katie. Let me see here. This is an interesting, Janice. Is that not symmetry, just a different angle? I thought asymmetry would be something big at the top of the page and something small at the bottom of the page. Not necessarily. I mean, there's a few different ways to approach the idea of asymmetry. Something big at the top of the page and small at the bottom of the page. For me, definitely asymmetry, absolutely, but a imbalance. And that is something you want to watch, unattractive imbalance, an off-putting imbalance, because what would happen, in most cases, it would look like that thing at the top of the page was almost tumbling towards you. And that would feel like unnerving. Does that make sense? Yeah. I really need to go to work. I'll catch the rest in the replay. Thank you. All right. For those of you that can stick around, I highly, highly recommend sticking around. Now, maybe I'm making too much of this, but I think this could be wicked cool. I can't wait to try this out. It's a little something, something that I made up as yet another way to kind of explain some of these concepts, and I hope a way that you might try to play around with some of your less than desirable paintings. So I messaged Katie the other day. I'm convinced that Katie, she's our AV gal today, remember. I'm convinced that Katie believes that I am certifiable. Creatively certifiable, but certifiable just the same. And I said, Katie, I need you to get me cutouts of flowers. And she's like, come again? I'm like, yeah, I need you to print out some of my artwork, scans of it, because we scan all the artwork because of wedding invitations. I need you to print them out and cut them out, and I need them ready for Wednesday. She's like, okay, whatever you say. All right, so friends, today we're going to do a little exercise with cutouts. This is something you could do with, let me answer Janice. Sorry, my question was in regards to the perpendicular red lines and then the arched yellowish green lines. There are symmetrical, are they symmetrical? Are they? Yeah, I mean, I do think, Janice, there's just a bunch of ways to interpret symmetry and asymmetry. And again, knocking down fences with this one. Knocking down fences. A lot of ways to interpret it. So I've got cutouts, friends. I've got them in my cute little bowls here. First, we are going to explore the rule of thirds. It's a compositional approach, along with a complementary color scheme. Katie, we can go to full screen paint cam. Rule of thirds. So, getting my ruler out. All right. And friends, this is going to be rough because you know I don't. Oh, Lord, that is completely wet. Rule of thirds. I'm going to draw this in real light. Rule of thirds is where you kind of break up your paper into a grid. And mine is a very uneven grid. And you want your focal point to fall somewhere. And you could do a bigger grid. I'm just doing 6 panels. You could do more. And again, breaking down fences. Photographers, I know, if there's any photographers here, they're probably like, you're not doing that correctly. And that's okay. Cat, thank God. Cutouts. Okay. So you want your focal point to intersect, to land on these intersections. This is just one way of approaching composition. So let's do it. Now, friends, if you have paintings that you've fallen out of love with, that you're tempted to throw in the garbage, I beg you not. Let's play. All right. Let me get this first one right on over this intersection on the right here. All right. And I am using a complementary red-green color scheme. That's a big flower. I don't know if that's going to stay. I dropped one. Don't know if it's going to stay. I'm going to let this one run across to the other intersection to see if that might be interesting. It might be distracting. This is a muted version of red and green. And in fact, there's a little bit of red in the green, and I thought that was interesting. So I'm playing. All right. I'm thinking about building out a focal point from this intersection that's under this flower. Lorna says, I just have to say, I love your artistic brain. Your creativity is awesome. Thank you. Aw. I thought this would either be really cool or fall flat, but I was willing to try. I was willing to try. Interesting. Right? I'm building out from this intersection. This is my congested focal point here. Love it. Taylor is the first winner with a birthday tomorrow. Is it Taylor or did Kelly spell it wrong, or is it Taylor? Anywho, winner, chicken dinner. The second winner is tied. All right, we'll give away 2 more then. We'll do a 3. We'll give away 3. It's fine. Just remember to email hello@KristyRice. Attention, Kristen, with your mailing address, please. All right. This is getting dark, right? And I've got really good light here, but this is getting dark. It's getting dark. So I want to give myself a little better light. I'm going to take my iPad. I have my script. Yes, I do write scripts for these, and it was blocking some of the light, so I'm taking it down. So I've got this little hellebore here with some light feathery filler, and I think that might be an interesting spot for her. Look at this. Look at this. What do we think? Is this heading to a good place? Is this heading to a good place? I think so. All right, let me know. Are you going to try this cutout craziness that I am doing here? Are you going to try this? Are you going to try it? I pray the answer is yes, because I think it's fantastic and it has a lot to teach you. Because you know what? It takes away that desire to make all the decisions at once, because you have the freedom of, oh, I have this thing, it's all painted and I can just plop it on the page. I don't have to worry about making a mistake because you can just lift it and move it. It frees you up. I think you need to get on this yesterday. Try this. And you know what, friends? I want you to show me. If you're going to try this, I want you to show me. And here's how you can show me. Katie can pop this up on screen. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Kristy the Painter. You can tag me both places. I don't like this. That's weird. I was hoping it would be, we'll wait. Tag me at Kristy the Painter. Who knows? I might just repost what you'd show me. Who knows? Like, I really want... Oh, hold the phone. Hold the phone. I'm chopping things up, y'all. And here's the cool thing. Beyond the obvious coolness of this exercise, which I'm super excited about. Once you get this in place and you are happy with this, take a cotton picking picture of it and then paint it. I did say cotton picking. I'm so excited too, Cindy. I am so excited and I just can't hide it. Yeah. Yep. So once you get this down, take a picture. All right, remember that's our intersection. Rule of thirds, baby. Rule of thirds. Do we like that? No, I don't like that as much. Would I like it more? Would I like it more like this? Oh, maybe. Would I like it with the berries back? Because I really like this anemone. Or, no, I think, even though I like Miss Anemone, I do think this is the better choice. It's just, it's strong, but compelling. Oh, hot, holy yes. Laura says, this is a fabulous idea. I can't wait to do this. So exciting. In the not live replay, I will do this where I can pause your little speedy self, which I adore watching. My little speedy self. I'll tell you what, no one's ever called me speedy in any other aspect of my existence. So I will take that. This is interesting. I'm actually running out of elements here, but I could see, oh, you know what? I'm just going to get cray. Hold on, friends. I've run out of paper elements that I'm wanting to incorporate. So you know what? You can do this on the back. You can do this on junky paper, and you can start painting along to map out where you would do some things. Because I feel like a little strawberry patch situation here. Fast and loose. You're mapping, friends. You're mapping. Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, I can't believe 170 of you are still here because I am just literally crazy. I can't hide my crazy. I can't hide my excitement. I won't hide it. I'm looking for a brush. You can hear the fact that I'm not finding my brush quick enough. Little strawberry patch action here. How we, oh, yes, more of this. What was that noise? That was strange. Anyhow, I'm going to ignore that. Don't we love the strawberries there? Don't we? We do. I do. I got to check and see what's happening. I hear a noise. It's freaking me out. Oh, I think are y'all already sharing with me on Instagram? I think you might be. Oh my goodness. Speaking of TikTok, please bring back, what was the comment? Please bring back TikTok live painting. I know TikTok for a while, can I just say, was not, for a while, TikTok was not pushing out anyone's lives. They really were really encouraging people not to do lives, but I think they've kind of fixed that recently. So I may be going back to TikTok lives. Fast and loose. That's right. Fast and loose. This is mapping. Because remember, I'm encouraging, I want you to paint this later on. I want you to take this mapping and this freedom and the spirit of what you're doing and paint this out with the confidence that you've built by doing this exercise, right? Right? Where did that French Canadian, okay, what is a French Canadian laugh? I'm so curious now. How to paint strawberries and cherries. Oh, I love painting strawberries and cherries so much. And I think I might maybe add, remember we are complementary color scheme here. I feel like a big leaf here. I'm doing it light because I'm not sure. Oh yeah. Yeah, I can get down with that. I'm like distracted by the French Canadian laugh thing. I don't know what a French Canadian laugh is. But yeah, I don't know. All right, friends. So you see where I'm going with this. You see where I'm going with this. Should we do another one? I want to do another one. I want to do another one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could totally. Y'all know I have a video about outlining cutouts. Kat mentioned that she wants to outline the cutouts and use that as the start for her painting. I'm going to make a note. Outline cutouts vid. I'm going to share that. I'm going to link that below because I have a whole video about that. If you haven't given this video a boop yet, friends, now there isn't a prize attached to this one. We've been there, done that today. But if you're feeling so compelled and you really are excited and you feel like you've gotten some value out of this, friends, would you give this video a boop? I'd appreciate it so much. So much. Yes, I will absolutely make a video on strawberries and cherries, my friend. Boop. Thank you. All right. Clearing her off. Okay. I am going to work on the back of this. That's a great thing. This is a great use of the back of paintings that you're not super dupes excited about. So the next one up, we're going to work with the Fibonacci Spiral. And we are going to be using a split complementary color scheme. We're using green, blue, and red orange. Outline video. Terrific. Yes. Awesome. Okay. So the Fibonacci Spiral, I'm just going to sketch one quick. It's a great way to think about composition. And I have a video all about it. I'm going to link to it if you want to learn more about a little bit more about the science behind it. But it's basically like a spiral kind of idea where your eye, you keep your eye moving, right? With the spiral. So I've got, started with this beauty. I love this. I actually love this little thing. So we've got our red orange, we've got our blues, and we've got our green. And honestly, the green's more blue green, but you know what? It still works. Kicking down fences, kicking down fences. It still works. All right, we got all this. We got all this. Can y'all hear my little boy? He's out there playing his Legos. Tomorrow's first day of school. I'm so sad. I'm that mama who absolutely adores having my kiddos home with me. I mean, let's face it, my mom is here to watch them so I can work, but I just love having lunch with them and being able to take breaks and play outside. And I'm so sad he has to go back to school. Anywho, you hear him in the background, and I'm not going to shut him up because I love to hear that chatter usually. All right, so focal point, I'm going to go the traditional route and put the focal point right over that main spiral. That's how I would traditionally start if I was thinking of Fibonacci spiral compositional approach. It's not the only way you can do it. There are some really interesting things you can do. Oh, school already started. Yeah. Okay. and then we're going to build out. We're going to follow that spiral and see what happens. I might bring in some of the greens from our last one. All right. I mean, I'm going really literal here, and I already think I'm not going to like the literal following of the spiral, but who knows? Some kumquats. This is a great way to reimagine a painting that maybe you really love the start of it. Maybe it went wrong somewhere and you still think about it and how bummed you were. Cut it up, cut her up, and get on with it. And try it again this way. All right? That's what I want for you. I need more greens. And these will work. I think. Yeah, this will work. Tomorrow is sketching for watercolor. Who's excited about tomorrow? Are y'all going to be here tomorrow too? I hope. I know it's a weird time, but I hope you'll be here. And friends, my replay friends, I hope you'll be excited to watch the replay. Maybe you'll subscribe and hit that bell button so that you always know when I'm coming on and my weirdness is about to enter your world. This is fun. This is work. See how it's kind of going? Whoosh. Yeah, it's got a nice swoosh. Yes, sketching. I'm so excited. Keep those questions coming though, friends. Because why not? That's the Fibonacci sequence, right? 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 12. Yeah, Fibonacci sequence. Yeah, sorry. I have a hard time seeing the screen that I'm watching these comments on is tiny. So I'm like, I have to squint, take my glasses off and all the things. Oh, the gold foil cards that are coming out on Amazon soon. You know, I wish I had a sample of them. Yes, but they are, it's a note card set that I'm doing with my publisher. And sorry, left brain, right brain, not functioning well together. And it's some of my most popular artwork from my different coloring books and turned into smaller formats. And then there's going to be gold foil details all over them. And yeah, and they're going to come with envelopes, and I think it's going to be really lovely. This one's tricksy. All right, what I would do, you'll get to a point where you're like, I don't have the cutouts I need. And that's the point. That's your brain saying, okay, well, let's get in there and paint. Let's map out some painted areas. Yeah. Now this has kind of got a little bit of a wreath vibe going on, but there's nothing wrong with that. This is where I would go with this. Yeah, this is nice. And then up here, I probably would a little red, a little bit of yellow. I probably do something like that. And then the blue with the emerald green, a little bit of brown, no, purple. And you know when your desk is a hot mess like this, you know you're in a good place. Yeah, and then I would go in here and do some things. Oh, yeah. Booping is a like. You know, friends, the only reason I had the donation thing turned on is from when I did that that fundraiser for Ukraine. We raised like $6,000. But I didn't realize that people would actually like tip or donate to creators. And some of y'all have been doing that, and I'm so grateful, but please know that's not why. I just forgot I had it on. Oh my gosh, I was actually really embarrassed the other day when I realized it, when somebody sent a tip. I was like, oh, I did not leave that on. All right, I'm just getting some swoosh going here. Look at that. How we feeling? How's that? That's fun. Fun. Yes. Woo. Oh yeah, no monetary donation is needed. No. I didn't see the original comment. No. A boop is just a like. A boop is a like. All right, friends. Let's see. Time check. 2:12. Oh, Let's do one more. One more. There she is. Remember, take a picture and then repaint it. You could even finish this painting. There's so many ways to Sunday to make awesome things happen. So many ways. I'm going to go back. We're going to use negative space. I didn't talk about negative space in my last composition video. But negative space is so powerful. Friends, you're going to just bear with me. I'm about to just really go crazy here. We're going to do a big, quick, I'm going to use the new 3/4 inch dagger, and we're going to get in there. Green, that emerald green from my set, the blue. Stick with me. So, negative space is the space that isn't the elements of your painting. I know we're doing floral today. I hope that's okay. Y'all know how I feel about floral. I follow my joy. I mean, I love landscape too, but it just makes sense. All of these concepts make so much sense with floral, and we can do them with landscape too. And I will likely follow up with a video on that. Negative space is the space that isn't your flowers, your leaves, all your things. Positive space are the things you're painting, the flowers, the leaves. So this one, just ignore that. Ignore that. Okay. And this one, I am making this dark, quick, fast and loose, rough it in, cool color background. All right. Lots of blues, purples. And now, negative space isn't always white. Negative space today is going to be this color. All right, let's do this. I've got a collection of, where are they? I've got a collection of whites. And the interest comes from the space that is left behind. All right, the interest comes from the space that is left behind. These are the same size. I don't like that. I'm going to make them not the same size and trim them up. The question is, for clarification, is the negative space the background? Basically, yes. Yep. Good question. All Remember, you can trim these elements, make them smaller. All right. It's what's left behind. Now, where I'm folding over these elements is where they would run off the page, right? Does that make sense? Where they would run off the page. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And how we feeling, friends? How we feeling? So excited. I'm not sure if I'm as excited as my son, who's playing with all his new toys out there. Can you hear him? I sure can. He's hysterical. I love it. You can see right where that runs off the page. I actually wish this white flower were about 30% bigger, but you know, we're working with what we got here today, y'all. We're working with what we got. Mm-hmm. 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 Actually, this, because this is smaller, I want a little bit more of white impact up here in the focal area. So I'm going to put that anemone up here and put this smaller magnolia down here. Mm-hmm. Now, typically I would be concerned about this because this could potentially feel top heavy. But we can fix that because it does feel a little top heavy, but it's not terribly worrisome. We could do something like this with a really dark green leaf to balance the top heaviness of what's going on there, right? Isn't that lovely? I do like this. And then a little more balance to make sure that my double white situation up here doesn't become top heavy, because it could easily, and some might say it already is a little top heavy. Mm-hmm. Here we go. Would you use decoupage stuff on this? I mean, you could. I mean, this could become this cutout, watercolor, mixed media, decoupage it on could become your new medium. Absolutely. I'm using it more as a mapping exercise, right? And then you can learn and paint from it and have it be, I'm basically using it as like an alternative to sketching, I guess is a good way to say that, you know? But yeah, you could certainly turn this into a mixed media situation easily. Yeah. How are we feeling, friends? So far, have any of you been here all 3 days? Go ahead and put a 3 in comments if you've been here all 3 days. And then let me know which day has been your favorite. I want to know. Which day? Which day was your favorite? Spammers, yeah. All 3 days, Carlo, Joyce, Carol, Ginny, Virginia, Joe B. All right, which is your favorite though? I want to know. Which day? We had the watercolor reboot on Monday. Yesterday, oh my gosh, what did we talk about yesterday? What is wrong with me brush handling? All of the three. All three are the faves. Oh, y'all, you're sweet. Oh, you're all saying all three are your faves. Well, I'm going to tell you which day was my favorite. Today by a landslide was my favorite because I feel like it was really energizing for me, and hopefully I felt the energy from you, and I think we really tapped into something pretty incredible and provoking. There's a lot that can provoke you here in such good ways. So your negative space here, friends, is all this washy blue green stuff in the background. And as I was working through this, I was paying attention to all of that negative space. Now I'm going to do something here. This is a kumquat or something. Let me cut it out because I do still feel like we need a little more white action there in the middle. So I'm going to make a flower out of this, the backside of this kumquat, just for, you know, fast and loose purposes. Yeah, that'll do her. That'll do it. I think that's what it needed. Being a little center. Oh my gosh, we are just getting down and dirty. We're getting down and dirty. I said something the other day, and I think it's going to stick with me forever. We're getting all kindergarten on it. We're getting all kindergarten on this today in a good, free, just fluid way. Get kindergarten on your paintings, y'all. Get kindergarten on your paintings. It's a good thing. Sorry, Martha. It's a good thing. All right, friends, I'm going to go ahead because I'm going to next. I want you to watch the video, my first video on composition. That's going to come up on the replay. It's going to pop up on your screen right about now. Friends, this has been fantastic. You have been so loyal, so energized. You are keeping me energized because I'll tell you, it's been a long week, but a long, good week so far. I cannot wait for the rest of Watercolorland. Give everybody, Kelly and Katie, a big thank you because they are fantastic. This is a lot of work and they have been so present and so just in it to win it. So give them a thank you. Virginia almost failed kindergarten because I wouldn't go. I love it. All right. See you tomorrow, friends. And I wish you lots of happy cutout painting. Until then.